The ports went silent. The mailbags piled up. And suddenly, the world's most powerful economy was cut off. In August 2025, the White House declared war, not with missiles, not with soldiers, but with postage. A stroke of President Donald Trump's pen ended a decades-old rule that allowed parcels under $800 to enter America duty-free. The promise? Protect American jobs. The reality? An international shockwave that froze global postal networks, left small businesses gasping for air, and forced America's closest ally, Canada, to take an entirely different path. This is not just about mail. It is about power. It is about trust. And it is about whether tariffs meant to defend America are instead isolating it. The move was simple on paper. Abolish the de minimis exemption. That exemption had been the quiet lifeline of global e-commerce, letting millions of small packages slip into the U.S. market without duties or paperwork. Overnight, that rule vanished. From Friday onward, every incoming parcel, from India, from Europe, from Australia, from Britain, was hit with country-specific tariffs ranging from 10% to 50%. The White House justified it with familiar slogans: America First, Unfair Trade, Protecting Families from Fentanyl. But instead of protecting American industries, the shock first landed at America's own doorstep. Consumers faced sudden surcharges of $80, $160, even $200 per parcel. DHL, one of the world's largest couriers, suspended shipments to the U.S. entirely until the chaos cleared. And while Washington spoke of security, American families faced something far more tangible: higher prices, empty shelves, and shuttered shops. The rest of the world slammed the brakes. Postal agencies in London, Berlin, Sydney, and Delhi froze shipments to America, saying the rules were unclear and the costs unbearable. But Canada did something different. Instead of suspension, Canada Post rewired its system. Every parcel crossing into America would carry a 35% tariff, collected up front and transferred to U.S. Customs. Painful? Yes, but it kept the arteries of North American commerce alive. Millions of small Canadian businesses rely on U.S. customers. Ottawa understood that if the border shut, livelihoods would collapse. So, while Europe and Asia paused, Canada kept moving. The effect was subtle but powerful. Canadian exporters maintained access. Their goods kept reaching American households, even as rivals in Europe were locked out. Canada was not just adapting, it was gaining ground. But parcels were only the beginning. Trump's trade war soon reached the dinner table. In July 2025, Washington slapped a 50% tariff on Brazilian beef, cutting off the single largest foreign supplier of America's most beloved food. Within months, the flow collapsed, from nearly 48,000 tons in April to less than 10,000 by July, an 80% crash. The consequences were immediate. Families across the U.S. stared at grocery receipts in disbelief. Ground beef hit an average of $13.49 per kilogram, the highest ever recorded. Fast food chains shrank portions or raised menu prices. Importers lost billions. And again, Canada seized the moment. Ottawa quietly reopened its market to Brazilian beef, striking trade talks with Mercosur, and positioning itself as the stable North American buyer when Washington turned erratic. What began as tariffs against Brazil ended up strengthening Canada's supply chains, while American families paid record prices at the grill. The tariff wave did not stop at food. Trump's team doubled duties on Indian goods, raising diamond tariffs to 50%. India, the beating heart of the global diamond industry, processes 90% of the world's stones. Jewelers in New York's Diamond District could not absorb the costs. Engagement rings, wedding bands, luxury jewelry, all surged beyond reach. At the very moment love stories should be celebrated, couples faced cold arithmetic. Then came lumber. Canadian softwood, the backbone of U.S. housing construction, was slammed with a 35% duty. The Ontario Forest Industries Association calculated that tariffs added $6,000 to the cost of every single-family home built in the United States. For middle-class Americans, the dream of home ownership slipped further away. For Canadians, Ottawa rolled out a $1.2 billion support package to keep its mills alive and its exports diversified. Once again, Canada stood firm, while U.S. households carried the burden. Economists now estimate Trump's 2025 tariff package could add thousands of dollars a year to the average American household. From beef to diamonds to lumber, costs are rising. Globally, the story is different. While Washington tightens borders, countries are building alternatives. Brazil pivots to Canada. India deepens ties with Europe. Postal networks reroute around the United States. At the World Trade Organization, complaints pile up. At BRICS meetings, leaders discuss de-dollarization and new trade corridors. What was once unthinkable, bypassing the American market, is now strategy. And in Copenhagen, Ottawa and Denmark sketch out green trade corridors, from offshore wind projects to clean aluminum exports. The message is quiet but clear. If Washington won't lead, others will. Ships idle in American ports, while new routes open in Shanghai. That is the imagery haunting diplomats today. Trump's tariffs, meant to assert dominance, are accelerating something else: American isolation. Allies like Canada and Denmark are finding resilience in each other. Rivals like China and Russia are welcoming frustrated exporters. The International Monetary Fund warns of a fragmented global system. NATO allies whisper about trust, especially after Denmark accused Washington of covert influence operations in Greenland. And the BRICS bloc, once dismissed as symbolic, is suddenly signing deals in yuan instead of dollars. Tariffs are not just economic weapons, they are signals. They tell the world whether America is a partner or a threat. And right now, they are signaling unpredictability, a dangerous currency in global diplomacy. So, what have we seen? A single executive order stopped the flow of packages worldwide. A tariff on beef raised the cost of dinner for millions of Americans. A diamond duty priced young couples out of love. And a lumber war made homes less affordable. Through it all, Canada, steady, adaptive, pragmatic, turned crisis into opportunity. It kept its postal routes open, welcomed Brazilian beef, supported its lumber mills, and built new alliances abroad. In the end, America was not pushed out. It was quietly replaced. Is this how superpowers fade? Not with shock, but with silence, with tariffs that backfire, and allies that move on? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Share this story so others can see the hidden costs of tariff politics. And subscribe for more deep dives into the shifting balance of global power. Because this story is only just beginning.